Once in a while, the world of seed and plant breeding gets a valuable boost when a forward-thinking company opens its doors to help researchers get to the next level in their work. Canadian researchers have a valuable new resource at their fingertips now that NRGene has opened an office in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Located on campus at the University of Saskatchewan's Innovation Place, the company's new Canadian location will use cutting-edge AI-based genomic tools to provide some of the largest ag-based companies in the world with computational tools to optimize and accelerate breeding programs, significantly increase crop yield, and save time, costs, and other resources. NRGene held its grand opening of the Canadian office on October 28, 2021, with academia, industry leaders, and government officials in attendance.
We realized that this is another step in the value chain where we can bring value. So instead of bringing only the genes and the markers and the DNA markers on the computer, let's now identify them in the plants using the actual lab. So into this lab now, it's new, but pretty soon, hundreds of thousands of seeds or leaves of different plants will arrive, and we will extract the DNA from each one of them, and we do the full genetic profile of each one of them. Find, as I said, those individuals that harbor the beneficial genes, and only those will be selected for next generation. So we help reveal where are the best gene combinations, and then the breeders use them in the field to produce the next generation.
Agriculture is changing very rapidly currently. And if you look at kind of the advanced technologies that people always thought farmers were afraid to employ, that's moving and changing very, very rapidly, whether it's drones in the air, advanced irrigation, or genomics as we're talking about today. Today is the time where we're right at the cutting edge of people moving to technological innovation, and NRGene is ready to be at the forefront of that.
We were offering the International Wheat Genome Sequencing Consortium to decode the whole genome of wheat in one set. The genome of wheat is 17 billion letters. It's fivefold the size of the human genome. It's huge. And back then there was no any technology to do it in once. So IWGSC, the International Wheat Genome Sequence Consortium, they were trying to assemble piece by piece. And this took them 12 years. And they still were only 5% of the genomes was assembled. And our idea was very, very new, very innovative, and actually no one believed it is actually possible. So we look for people who are the believers, and we found it in Israel, in the Tel Aviv University, and here in Saskatoon with the University of Saskatchewan, Dr. Curtis Pozniak, and Gibbs and others, and they were willing to produce the data that we can assemble, and this is exactly what we did. So instead of 12 years, we assembled the genome in 12 days. And instead of doing only 5%, we did close to 98%. And back then, it was by far the best genome assembled of any major organism, not only wheat. It was the quality, the same quality as the human genome.
We've been conducting some additional experiments now with NRGene in wheat and in durum wheat. We've developed a very precise genotyping protocol that's very specific to our germplasm and our traits. So we spent a lot of time doing additional sequencing of our germplasm, comparing that data, and trying to understand that data in the context of what we're selecting for and what we're throwing away. And really with the idea to move towards more of a predictive breeding strategy. So instead of using individual DNA markers one at a time, we're now going to take a whole genome perspective, take a look at the whole genome, and use the sequence information to help us piece together the best parts of genomes, of various genomes, so that we can develop varieties that are more productive.
We want to collaborate with breeders. We want to develop new seeds together with breeders, with seed companies, with academia. We do it in Israel. We do it mainly on tomatoes, and we have other projects we didn't disclose. But most of our projects are here, exactly here in Saskatoon, in canola, in alternative proteins. So we have a project of a mix of pea and hemp, and it's all done here. So here in Canada, we don't only have bioinformaticians and software engineers and mathematicians, but we also have the geneticists and breeders and lab technicians and molecular lab people, and they are all working together with our collaborators in order to provide the world with better seeds.
We need to understand our germplasm. We keep on bringing new genetic diversity into our breeding program, and we need to keep optimizing our SNP panels to keep our prediction models up to date and accurate. And this goes also hand in hand with keeping our internal genotyping platforms up to date. So I think there is a lot of potentials for NRGene and NuSeed to work together and make that happen for us.
NRGene, I actually was introduced to them, 2015, before they kind of were here in Canada, before they did so much of the tremendous work they have done, which was announced today with the wheat project. So I met them when they were just thinking about hemp or cannabis genomics years ago in very preliminary stages, and it was quite crude at that time. We just had terribly scattered, messy genetics in cannabis world. We didn't have what's called a reference plant, and so they've come a long way in a short time to improve all that capacity and all the general genomics technology. They've come very quickly, the whole world has, but they've done a great job on the cannabis side. I think an NRGene brings to the world for cannabis right now this ability to focus on those half dozen genes of really strong interest that you're after, because you know what your end product you want. And NRGene can help you get there, I guess is the simplest way I can put it.
And Canada is huge, Saskatchewan is huge. We come from Israel, it's all so tiny. But gladly for us, most of the breeding entities and research entities in crop breeding are located exactly here. Okay, so we have the University of Saskatchewan, GIFS, NRC, AFC, CLS, they are all located here, and many of the big companies have their R&D centers here. And so it's becoming, from 15 hours flight to meet everyone, it's become a 10 minutes drive or 10 minutes walk, which is very different. And the fact that we are now becoming, a part of the community really helps, to collaborate. I mean, it's about technology and lab and data, but it's more about people. And the fact that our team and our collaborator teams are now be able to sit together on a daily basis and work the things together, this is a huge advantage for us.
I think one of the greatest things you can have as a parent is when your kid looks at you and says, "Dad, I'm so proud of you, you're doing something good for the world." I started in the ag business with the ingredients, specialty chemical end. And as he always said, pushing high fructose corn syrup was never something I wanted to brag to my friends about. Now you're actually helping make a better planet, and being with a company like NRGene where everyone inside of the company truly believes that that's their mission, that's the kind of place I want to be. That's the legacy I want to leave for my children, and as of 11 weeks ago, my grandchildren.